Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Waterloo, Iowa, Maple Lanes to be exact. I'm Mike Flanagan from InsideBowling.com and Storm Bowling Products. Happy to be bringing you the second round coverage of the Fusion Realtors Tournament, the 2014 version, brought to you by Storm, Inside Bowling, Rydell Chevrolet, P&K Midwest, the John Deere dealership here, Kingpin Bar and Grill here at Maple Lanes, donating proceeds from this weekend's food and beverage sales right back into the prize fund of the tournament. Budweiser and Bud Light, the Isle Casino Hotel, where we stayed this weekend. Beautiful facility. You got to come out and see it. And the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau. Yesterday we saw 3 squads. A morning squad that was just a little bit light on entries because of some travel conditions, 53 bowlers to be exact. And then a B squad that was full with 60 bowlers, and then a C squad where they opened up a couple pairs that they hadn't used. And we had 63 bowlers compete later in the evening in C squad. 61 bowlers have made it to today, and out of those 61 bowlers, all 61 bowlers are going to cash. We saw Rob Gottschall through 3 squads yesterday lead this field at plus 363. In second place, also coming off a C squad with Rob, was A.J. Chapman, a young phenom from Wichita State. He sits at plus 310. Chad Kloss is third this morning, heading into these 6 games of bowling. Chad sits at plus 279. In fourth is Eric Gulbrandsen at plus 266. And we had a lane breakdown yesterday, and he actually bowled down on 3 and 4 after the entire field was complete. Kept his composure, bowled 250, and he was able to solidify himself in 4th position, and he is on lanes 1 and 2, which is the pair with the leaders today. Then down on lanes 5, or in 5th and 6th position, Casey Murphy, who led early. He led the B squad, and nobody thought anybody was going to catch Casey Murphy. He slid to 5th after the C squad last night. He actually sits at plus 262. And in 6th, Chad Nelson at plus 250. So what's going to happen today? The bowlers are going to bowl these 6 games. Then we're going to cut to 10 bowlers. And 10 is going to bowl 7. And 8 is going to bowl 9. And the winner of each one of those matches are then going to be inserted to bowl against the 5th and the 6th qualifier with all pins combined today. The winner of that match will be our 5th seed in a 5-person stepladder. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th will be seeded, but 10th through 5th is up for grabs. Let's go out to the lanes. Let's take a look and see what we have this morning. Lanes 5 and 6, lanes 13 and 14 just underway. Down on lanes 5 and 6, we've got Scott Rains, Jason Rook, Troy Fuller, and Nick Pate. Scott Rains qualified in the 10th position at plus 237. Troy Fuller in the 11th position at plus 225. Nick Pate in the 12th position at plus 220. Then over on lanes 13 and 14, we have Scott Christensen, Dave Gerst, Zach Livingston, and Jeffrey Roush this morning. The bowlers will be skipping towards the right, so we will see our leaders probably during the next game or the game after. I'd like to welcome in all of our viewers. Don't forget, you can interact with us up here in the booth by chatting with us, and you can also tweet us up in the booth at hashtag InsideBowling. Today's oil pattern is exactly the same as what we saw all day yesterday. It's a 39-foot pattern, and it was deemed by Jeff Riggles on his 11th frame blog that it may be the toughest lane pattern the Fusion Realtors Tournament has seen to date over the last few years. The Fusion Realtors Tournament becoming one of the premier events across the United States. But actually it's become one of the higher scoring Fusion Realtors tournaments despite the 2.3 to 1 ratio 39-foot oil pattern. The way it's tapered front to back, and with these new lane panels they've installed in the front part of the lane, the scoring pace is a little higher than anticipated. But it's fair for all, and everyone's bowling on the same condition. yesterday in order to make the top 60, and we actually had a tie for 60th position between Aaron McCarthy and Shannon Buehn, and both players have made it to today. So we have one pair with 5 bowlers on it. It took plus 101 for 7 games. Certainly not a house shot, but Rob Gottschall sure made them look easy yesterday, finishing at plus 363. AMF Tim letting us know that yesterday Riggles, as soon as he stepped into the booth, thought 101 would be the number. And 101 ended up being the number. You're right about that, AMF Tim. And we've got some folks cheering for their respected hometown heroes or friends or family. Six games, and then we go to 10 bowlers, as I said. It should be a pretty quick day. We do have the one pair with 5 bowlers on it. Tell your friends, let them know you're watching live bowling here this morning on InsideBowling.com. I really can't say enough about the staff here at Maple Lanes. This morning already asking if I'd like something to drink, and today the choice beverage is lemonade. So if I'm bowling the tournament this morning, I'm going to be looking at different scenarios here. Let's say I am Aaron McCarthy or Shannon Buehn, and I came in at plus 101, and I have 6 games to get to the 10th place. I'm 136 pins behind 10th position, which gets me into the step ladder. So I have to make up 136 pins, in which 10th place yesterday was 237 over. So that's about a 230 average. So you got to figure making up 130 pins over 6 games, you're going to have to make up about 20 pins a game. So if 10th place continues to average 230, you're going to have to average 250 for this block. Out of the question? No. I would say probably about 240 is what you would need to average to get really close. So we'll keep an eye on the folks down in 60 and 61st position. And then we'll scroll up a little bit. Let's go to 40th position. Daniel Healy sits at plus 136. Exactly 100 pins away from 10th position coming into today. We'll look at 30th position, which is Shea Bittenbender, who sits at plus 164. He's 60 pins out. And then in 20th position, Zach Rhodes sits at plus 192. And 10 spots up, 10th position, Scott Rains, plus 237. And you're actually watching Scott Rains, Jason Rook, Troy Fuller, Nick Pate on lanes 5 and 6 right now. So lots of bowling to be had today, and an elite group of players here in the Midwest. The Fusion Realtors has attracted many of the finest in neighboring states here. Take a look at some ball reaction and some scores. Lanes 5 and 6, 9 spare, open 4-bagger. 5 in a row, 5 in a row, and 5 in a row. 13 and 14, double 9 spare, 9 spare strike, spare strike spare, and triple. And it looks like lanes 13 and 14 are going to become a down pair. Right here, 13 and 14. 13 is going to be taken out of play, so we will have to reposition that camera, which will be extremely interesting and fun. Flying solo here in the booth. So one pair for you. I'll shift gears and get you another pair. The joys of moving on the fly sometimes. After mentioning we had 3 perfect strings on 5 and 6, to no avail, we give you 2 misses. But Scott Rains almost picked the 7-10. So I'll let you hang out and watch the continuing coverage of game number 1 of 6 today. I'll get that camera moved to another pair. I'll be right back. Okay, Mike Flanagan back with you. We got 15 and 16 now in play for us with our camera, and successfully have moved pairs with that lanes 13 and 14 breakdown. Little wrench thrown into the morning mix here. So now we have lanes 5 and 6 and 15 and 16 for you as we bring you the second round coverage from the 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. Good morning to everyone, and down on 15 and 16, it is none other than Shea Bittenbender, Chris Freeman, Sean Rangel, Stephen Taylor, and scoring pace on that pair, 195, 197, 219, 2-0, and over on lanes 5 and 6. It looks like Jason Rook, 198. Troy Fuller, 229. Scott Rains with a possible 223. And Nick Pate can shoot 213. And it was 279, actually. I apologize. It was 279 for Troy Fuller. As I can read the scoreboard here now. 279. Great start for Troy Fuller. That is going to move Fuller 2+. 304. Big move by Fuller this morning. Big move. Moving on up to the top. 3-part apartment in the sky, I believe is how that goes. I will grab my wireless, get myself set up here. Game number 1 of 6. 6 games this morning. Pinfall does carry over. See Chuck Grote on lane 7, Casey Murphy on lane 4. I'll walk around and get you some score updates. This morning, the leaders, Rob Gottschall, 198. A.J. Chapman, a possible 222. He's up in the 11. It was 238 for Chad Kloss. And still a max score of 210 for Gulbranson. Over on lanes 3 and 4, Casey Murphy can bowl 180 if he fills it up in the 10th. He's on his fill ball. Chad Nelson can shoot 226 headed into the 10th frame. Wojnar, 244 with 2 shots left in the 10th. And Jerry Sikora can bowl 192 if he throws 3 strikes in the 10th frame. You saw what happened on lanes 5 and 6. Take you to a wide shot here as there's no action on our 2 pairs. You see Brett Cooper. On lane 7 and 8, Chuck Grote can shoot 236. He just threw the first shot in the 10th and struck. Lenny Borish can bowl 192. He's thrown the first strike in the 10th frame, looking for 2 more to get to 192. Jeff Coliani can bowl 190. But we'll need 3 strikes in the 10th frame to get there. Otherwise, he's looking at a 170. Mike Peters can bowl 219 with 3 strikes in the 10th frame. Scott Woolwin is going to shoot 2-0. Zach Rhodes can shoot 227. Clay Reese can bowl 226. He's up in the 10th frame. First shot in the 10th. Darren Galbraith can shoot 216 through 9. So score's not all that high. The 279 by Fuller is huge. Joe Messiker bowled 242. Rob Amers 162. Brett Cooper 229. And Jared Helmers bowled 269. So that'll launch him up. Matt Kruger bowled 254, down on 17 and 18. And as I walk the concourse and look for some other scores, see a 246, a 230. Jason Duran can bowl 277. He's up in the 10th frame, down on 25 and 26. So 277 would be a big score. He gets 6 on his first shot in the 10th, so he can shoot 253 for Duran. And Joe Engelkist going into the 10th frame can bowl 276 on the pair with 5. So that gives you an update of what's going on. The pair with 5 is heading into the 10th frame now. Looks like lanes 15 and 16 are getting ready to get going. So I will take you there now on your screen. Game number 2 coming up. Just underway here at the Fusion Realtors. We appreciate everyone watching this morning. Rob Amers, Joe Messiker, Brett Cooper, Jared Helmers on your live broadcast here, 15 and 16. As it seems most of the crew here, or the competitors, want to take their time waiting for the pair of 5, because we had a tie at 60th position today, so there is one pair with 5. Bowlers are aware of that. And there seems to be a bit confusion in regards to where bowlers are to go to. So it looks as though the bowlers that started on 15 and 16 did the wrong thing and began bowling on the wrong pair. So a little bit of headache here this morning with 13 and 14 going down, not only for us and our live broadcast, but also confusing for the bowlers. So I need to get clarification on what's going on with the skip procedure here now. I got to see how 13 and 14 is being treated. So if they were supposed to go to 13 and 14, they're now on 15 and 16, not the new pair that was inserted. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Leave it set up on that pair.
So moving around a little bit here. Now on lanes 9 and 10, you see Jason Wojnar, Casey Murphy, Chad Nelson, Jerry Sikora. Take a look at Casey Murphy and the way he's attacking this oil pattern. And around the 19th board. And here's Chad Nelson. Nelson coming into today plus 250. These 4 bowlers in game number 1 struggled a little bit. Off to a good start here on lanes 9 and 10. Still no action on 5 and 6, but 15 and 16 underway. We'll take you there now. Look at Lenny Borish. Lenny bowling with Mike Peters, Chuck Grote, Jeff Coliani. Coliani up on lane 16. Jeff's throwing the ball pretty well this morning. Normally runs around with Derek Sapp and Jason Wojnar. They travel together, bowl tournaments together. Mike Peters, otherwise known as Jeff Carter's doubles partner, sporting kind of the Van Halen jersey there. Jeff Carter, huge fan of Van Halen, and his jerseys are designed after Van Halen. Question in the chat about the 2014 Storm InsideBowling.com Open, and we will have information out this week. We're just waiting on a couple of sponsors to sign off on the information we've put together, make sure they approve the logos, and that we're good to go. So coming up soon, thanks for asking about that tournament. End of April, April 25th through the 27th. You'll be able to watch that tournament and compete in that tournament here on this channel you're watching right now here on InsideBowling.com. Game number 2 of 6 games of the second round. All of the cashers are here today. Cashers round. Flying solo in the booth, I'm Mike Flanagan, and today's a big day for bowling. The USBC Masters on ESPN today, a live broadcast. Make sure you watch that. Make sure you watch us, as we have one of the most unique stepladder formats that we live stream in all the events that we go and do. These 60 bowlers will be cut down to 10, in which the top 4 seeds can go into the bar, watch the end of the Daytona 500, have a couple of cocktails and some lunch, while 6 other bowlers compete for 1 spot as the 5th seed in a stepladder that moves from pair to pair to pair after every game. So the 10 seed will bowl against the 7 seed, and the 8 and the 9 seeds will bowl against each other. The winners of each one of those matches will then now draw the 5th and the 6th seeds, and they will bowl respectively. Then the winners of that match will then bowl each other to determine who will be the 5th seed, and then go up the ladder to 4th, to 3rd, to 2nd. And then we will crown a champion later on this afternoon. We'll have a prize list up for you shortly. I know they're working on that this morning. Not a big top prize, somewhere around $3,000, but the way they spread the money out here is incredible. A 1 in 3 cash ratio, $125 entry fee. And when you see the prize list, you'll be pleasantly surprised with what a great payout this event is, top to bottom. Lenny Borish knocks them all down. Lenny is one of the good guys out here. Always one of the people that likes to come by, shake my hand, say hello. Son is an accomplished bowler as well. Mike Peters, Chucky Grote. Chucky Grote making the trip out from Utah. We both have the same route home. Both headed out west after this tournament today. Get a look at Chuck Grote's game. Looks like he didn't like the way that he stuck on that, but to no avail. It's a strike for Chucky. And the first 4 for Chuck, so nice break. Mike Peters with his starting of the lawnmower this morning. Follow through. No problem at all. Another strike for Mike Peters. Mike told me yesterday that he was switching balls every game. He'd go to a pair and hear the report or see what the players were doing, and he'd just make a blind ball change, and it worked really well for him yesterday. And I've got good news. Lanes 5 and 6 finally have some action on them, so we'll give you a split screen. Now, I am slightly confused on the cross because it looks as though lanes 5 and 6 here with Christensen, Dave Gerst, Zach Livingston, and Jeff Roush have moved to lanes 5 and 6. So a little different skip procedure here today. The leaders are on 7 and 8, and the last grouping is on 3 and 4, but between them, lanes 5 and 6, we've got Christensen, Gerst, Livingston, and Roush. Lenny Borish missed the head pin on lane 15. Chucky Grote still with a 279 max score. Yeah, Midwest, I agree here in the chat. Koliani is throwing the ball pretty well today. Coliani, first 4, right side of your screen, looking for 5 in a row. He's got it. Jeff Coliani, superstar today. I'm sure he'll want to go back and watch himself bowl in this event when we archive it on our YouTube channel. So, Jeff, this is one of those days where you're throwing the ball extremely well, buddy. Not to mention great opportunity. If you are not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, we sure would appreciate you going out and doing so. Give us a subscribe, and you'll be notified when we post new content. Often what happens is, because the files are so large, it takes me about a week to archive the footage. And when it becomes available, the best way to be notified is by subscribing to the channel, because you'll get an email that says that we had posted a new video. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not subscribed to YouTube or I don't have an account, if you have a Gmail account, you can still subscribe to our channel, because Gmail and YouTube work one and the same. And we sure would appreciate you subscribing to our YouTube channel. It also helps us attract sponsors for events. The larger subscriber base we have on our YouTube channel, the more likely we are to bring money to these bowlers that compete for sometimes not as much money as they really should compete for. So do your part. Help out. It's free. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Support everything that we do so we can utilize those numbers to try to leverage sponsorship dollars. Coliani, keep it going. Yes, sir. He's a rock star today. 6 in a row, the graphic says. Just after 10:30 this morning, you're watching game number 2 of 6 games of the second round of the 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. Brought to you by Storm, the Bowlers Company. Certainly being part of Storm myself and being part of this event, there's no surprise why we support this event. It's a great one. Modern updates to an older style bowling center. Retro masking units still, as you get to see on your screen, but really a fantastic pro shop. Fran's Pro Shop here in the facility. The Kingpin Bar and Grill. One of the nicer staffs I've ever seen in a bowling center here in Waterloo. Neat little stop if you're in the area. You want to come by, bowl a couple games. Drink a Budweiser or a Bud Light. Go buy a car from Rydell Chevrolet. Go get yourself a John Deere tractor from P&K Midwest. Go over, have the buffet at the Isle Casino. Play a little blackjack. And then stop by the Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau and see what they got going on and reasons to come visit this wonderful city of Waterloo. All while watching archive broadcast of Inside Bowling on your phone on your way to the Fusion Realtors to purchase a home and live in this fine town. Those are our sponsors. Support them, folks. Jeff Coliani up on lane 16, looking for the ham turkey dinner. That's a ham bone plus a turkey, guys. All right. His string is going to end at 6. No ham turkey dinner for Jeff. Still 278 max score. Mike Peters playing extremely deep today. Probably the deepest competitor I've seen on the lanes today. You're watching continuing coverage, 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. A few funny things going on here in the bowling center. I've been having to jet out of the booth a few times. We had a internet connectivity issue with credit card machines here in the building, and they thought it was related to us, so had to go troubleshoot that and get their credit cards up and running for you. So continuing to watch lanes 5 and 6 and lanes 15 and 16. Mike Peters 5'10". Unusual leave for Mike. Lenny Boris Jr. getting her done, looking for a double here in the 10th. He's going to be in the 180s. Chuck Grote enjoying this pair. Just one 4-pin in the 5th frame, looking for max score 279. And just like that, poof, it goes away. It's going to be in the 240s if he cannot convert. And when you're trying to make a run at this thing, you know, a shot like that, you're going to look back and say, man, if I'd have had that hit there, I shoot 270, I make the top 10. Still a good game for Chuck, but certainly not what he was looking for there in the 10th frame. Scores are a little lower today from what I've seen. For instance, Rob Gottschall looking at 195 over on lanes 7 and 8.
Key to that is don't throw it.
And Chapman could shoot 182 over on lanes 7 and 8. Take you over for a different look. We'll look at Casey Murphy over on lanes 9 and 10. Trips the 2-pin forward. Casey can still shoot 247. Jason Wojnar shoot 235. Up first shot, 10th frame, lane number 10. Got the first one. Also on this pair, Chad Nelson can bowl 245, and Jerry Sikora can bowl 257. So pretty good pair here, lanes 9 and 10. Casey Murphy, second shot in the 10th. Got around that quite a bit. 5 in a row, can shoot 240. 247 if he fills it up. Now Wojnar. Second shot in the 10, 235. Still left out there for Wojnar. Yep, he's going to be in the 230s. Update on our leaders pair. Gottschall, it was 195. Chad Kloss has 92 in the 7th with a triple working second shot in the 10th. You'll see that come into your screen on lane 8 wearing the bright orange shirt. So really bailing out a game here. With opens in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, Chad Kloss can shoot 182 with the last 5 strikes. Murphy, 247. Back over to our split screen. It was spared. Chucky Grote spared the split for 255. $176 for Lenny Borish. Jeff Coliani. $266. 263. 263 game. Jeff Coliani game, buddy. A grab bag of scores here on lanes 5 and 6. Scott Christensen, Dave Gers, Zach Livingston, Jeffrey Roush. pace of play is fluctuating throughout the bowling center, as we just saw Coliani and company finish game number 2, and this pair on 5 and 6 just barely halfway through game number 2. Take you back over to 9 and 10. Sikora can bowl 247 with the conversion of the 4-7 here. And Chad Nelson now, his fill ball, can shoot 245 if he fills them up. .244 for Nelson. So 244 for Nelson, 247 for Casey Murphy. .235 for Jason Wojnar and 247 for Jerry Sikora. Good pair here. Nice bowling, guys. Action underway, lanes 15 and 16. Casey Murphy. We continue to watch Casey, and that's a blind ball change to an uproar. Waves to the fans at home, all of his fans. And comes in light. I don't really understand the ball change after bowling 247 on the last pair. I don't really understand that. Especially when the ball just came in so half pocket. But we'll continue to watch and see what he's thinking here. Now here's Jerry Sikora. Also just came off 247. I wonder if Jerry's making a ball change too over on this pair. Oh, look at Jerry with the slow roller messenger. Didn't quite get there. Now Nelson down there talking with the folks on his pair. Probably thinking, why did Casey switch balls? He knows something I don't. He went light. I do have an update after game number 1 here that I will deliver to you as soon as we see Chad Nelson deliver a shot. Crossing around the 20th board, and the 710 has no chance there. Pin carry in this building. If you've got the ball going left or right the correct way, the pins don't have a chance here. Standings update after game number 1. Rob Gottschall still leads at plus 361 at 329. AJ Chapman. Kloss sits at 317. Although the last game we saw him bowl 181, game number 2. So good first game and a bad second game. Troy Fuller moves up to 4th position at plus 304. Jason Wojnar plus 294, and he bowled 235 game number 2. So he will probably move up a little bit. Eric Gulbranson sits 6th at plus 275. Scott Rains, 259, sits 7th. Nick Pate is in 8th at plus 253, tied with Chad Nelson. We saw Nelson bowl 244 game number 2. Chuck Grote, 248. We saw him bowl 250 the last game, so he'll also move up. He's in 10th. Jared Helmers on the outside looking in. Jason Rook, Jerry Sikora, Casey Murphy round out your top 14. So 10th position plus 248. 24th position plus 200. So 14 spots between 10th and 24th, within 50 pins of 10th, I should say. Now here's Nelson. If you like to watch Wheel of Fortune, Chad Nelson's got one of those names that would be a great before and after puzzle. Something kind of like Chad Nelson Mandela. Well, Casey Murphy's made this ball change, and he looks like a genius. He's gone to the uproar. Let's take a look back down on lanes 5 and 6. They're just wrapping up. 206, 189. Possible 196 for Christensen, and possible 205 for Livingston. Too many pins thrown at the 9 there. Wojnar leaving the 210. I would say the chances of him picking this are about 30%. And he gets it. So we'll see if he leaves it 2 more times today, and if he misses it the next 2, and we'll see if my 30% is accurate. The 210 is about as easy as the baby split nowadays for bowlers, especially those that hook the ball at all. Happy you're with us this morning. We appreciate you watching our coverage. We know today's a big day in bowling with the USBC Masters coming up here on ESPN a little bit later today. Who's going to win today in the USBC Masters? Will it be E.J. Tackett? Will it be Michael Haugen Jr.? Will it be Tom Smallwood, Ryan Simonelli, or Jason Belmonte? We will find out sooner than later on ESPN. Haven't had a chance to check in on the leading pair coming into today, but we will at this point in time. Our first look at Rob Gottschall on lanes 11 and 12. Gottschall opened with an open, double, 7 spare, now 9. And Chad Kloss also on this pair. Chad, roller coaster ride thus far today in this game, no different. Open strike, looking for a double on lane 12. A.J. Chapman, strike, spare, strike. And Gulbranson, 9 spare, 8 spare, 9 spare strike. So it's lanes 11 and 12 for you. Got some folks in the chat saying, I picked Fuller yesterday. Well, Fuller started out really well today, game number 1. We'll have a game number 2 update here shortly. Chapman now with a double. Sporting kind of a retro look again today. Guess he didn't get the memo on the yellowish colored shirts on this pair, 11 and 12. Gulbranson and Kloss did. I don't know if Gottschall would wear a yellow shirt. Wow, look at that. How about the 3, 6, 7, 9? Otherwise known as the 2, 4, 8, 10 for us right-handers. Nice pickup, Gulbranson. Kloss is at least getting the same ball reaction on each lane as he's left the 3, 6, 10 now back-to-back on this pair. Gottschall was 75 in the 4th with a spare up in the 5th, looking for his 3rd strike this game. And that's a strike for Rob. We'll take you back out to our split screen. We've got a new group of bowlers over on lanes 5 and 6. I see Dave Axon. Jason Hale, Jacob Bedard, and Brent Ritchie on lanes 5 and 6. 15 and 16, you're still watching Jerry Sikora, Casey Murphy, Chad Nelson, and Jason Wojnar. Casey's perfect through 5, switching to the Rotogrip Uproar this game as a blind ball change. Nelson, 280 max score through 5. Wojnar comes up high, working on the double. So 3, 6, 10s are becoming a common leave, at least on our live pairs that we've been watching. Game number 3 underway here at the Fusion Realtors. Joe Engelkiss and his entire crew have done a tremendous job this weekend. Just can't say that enough. And the staff here at Maple Lanes has been very accommodating to us here in the booth and to the bowlers. Game number 3 of 6. Then if you're just joining us, 10 more games. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. I was reading a Facebook message. 10 bowlers will make the finals, in which 10 will bowl 7, 8 will bowl 9. The winners of that will then go on to face the 5th and the 6th qualifiers. Then the winner of that match will become ultimately the 5 seed to compete against the 4 other players that, through qualifying and the second round, combined pinfall, will be seeded into the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the step ladder. So a long day of bowling still left here. 3 games of qualifying after this, and then our top 10. Casey Murphy, another strike. Got to give a shout out to Rick Ramsey this morning, who was watching our broadcast. Rick's got some events in Reno this year you definitely want to check out. Stay tuned. Send him a friend request on Facebook. He'll keep you updated. I think one of the events we're actually going to keep the standings on InsideBowling.com for him. Chad Nelson not having any problems. He and Casey, if it was a doubles event, which it's not, possible 580. Would be a good double score. I wonder if these two guys crossing together would ever say, hey, you know what, I think we should double up in a tournament sometime. How often does that happen in bowling? We'll full screen it, get a look at Casey Murphy, the way he sets up here with his upward, crossing around the 20th board. Sure, when he watches it back, he'll say, why did Flanagan take me to the widescreen? Why didn't he just leave me on the split screen? Struck again. Wojnar. Threw that one good. Kloss continues to struggle. 83 in the 6th with a strike in the 7th, and now he's attempting a 9-pin in the 8th. Can only shoot 180 again. He's going to need the last 4 to shoot 180. Very uncharacteristic of Chad. Take you back over 11 and 12. The leaders coming in today, pair. They're crossing together and moving right throughout this 32-lane bowling center. A.J. Chapman looking for 5 in a row. He's got it. So Chapman can still shoot 268. He is through 8 frames. Now, Gulbranson here. 9 spare, 8 spare, 9 spare strike. He converted that big split. 6 spare, now is doubled, looking for 3 in a row. This would be a big shot for him. That was a big shot. He can shoot 247 still, and that would be a well-earned 247 after a not-so-good start. And now Kloss, 7 10s. So if he gets one here, he'll have 130 in the 9th. Gottschall can still shoot 224 up in the 9th. Gets the bird dog messenger. So now Casey Murphy is 210. And I said it was a 30% chance earlier that Wojnar would pick it. 30% chance as well on Murphy. Let's see what happens. Axon can still shoot 269. Spare double, spare strike. And here's Kloss, first shot in the 10th. When it rains, it pours. 2, 4, 8, 10. Now he must convert to bowl higher than a 130 game. If he gets 3 here, it'll be 139. Gulbranson can still shoot 226. He'll be up in the 10th frame the next time you see him come onto your screen. So this is about a 5% chance of picking this for Kloss. $138 for Chad Kloss, not the start he was looking for. He's going backwards in a hurry. Your current tournament leader, Rob Gottschall, up in the 10th frame, game number 3. Fusion Realtors looking for a double here. First shot in the 10th. So Rob, if he spare strikes, will shoot 204. Rob had a comfortable lead yesterday, but is seeing that lead evaporate, as I do have a game update after game number 2. Rob Gottschall 356 over, Gulbranson 341 over. So Gulbranson up now in the 10th frame, lanes 11 and 12. Yellow shirt, he can shoot 226, so he has a chance here now to go around Gottschall. Gottschall can only shoot 204, which would take him to 360 over. Gulbranson, not sure if he knows it or not, but Gulbranson with a spare strike here will shoot 214, which would put him just 5 pins behind Rob Gottschall. Third place, Troy Fuller sits at plus 330. Jason Wojnar, fourth at plus 329. Chuck Grote sits fifth at plus 303. A.J. Chapman sixth at plus 301. Seventh, Nick Pate at plus 298, tied with Chad Kloss. But as we know, Chad Kloss is going to be only 230 over now. Chad Nelson plus 297. Jerry Sikora plus 286. Those are your top 10. Casey Murphy plus 285, just 1 pin behind Sikora. So Kloss is going to drop out. Murphy's going to go in. Raines, Rook, Reese, Helmers, Rangel, Coliani breathing down their necks. If you'd like to see the information I just read off to you, it's down below on your event information tab on InsideBowling.tv. And the chat folks want to know Rob Gottschall throwing Ebonite. It's because he's got a job with Ebonite. He's going to be working in the R&D department. He's moving to Kentucky. And we wish Rob all the best. Having a mind like Rob involved in bowling in a working capacity is always a good thing. Now, we'll take you back over to lanes 15 and 16. Jason Wojnar can still shoot 215. First one, the 10th. And Casey Murphy can bowl 255, it looks like. But Chapman up first on lane 12. Ooh, not good for him. Murphy gets the strike. So Chapman had 6 in a row going into the 10th frame and then misses the head pin for the PBA washout. Needs to spare it and strike for 244. Chapman had an opportunity to really pounce there and just threw it past the break. Wojnar doubles now over to Chapman. Can he spare it? Oh, it looked like the 10 fell out of this. He will not spare it. .232 for Chapman with a 6-bagger from the 4th through the 9th. See a lot of pins being thrown away in the 10th frames here today. Good finish for Wojnar. 215. Well-fought game on 15 and 16 for Jason.
I'm here with Casey Murphy. Casey, why the blind ball change going into this game?
Well, to finish up the last game, I finished with a 5-bagger, but my motion was just a little bit weird. I was throwing a low pin ball with a hole, and it seemed like I was getting overhook if I tugged it and underhook out. So I flipped the lane around through a high pin ball. It gets longer down the lane and finishes harder, so I could get that recovery if I got it out and push if I got it in.
Yeah, because we saw you go to the uproar that game, and we saw you come in light on the first guess, and then pretty good game there, just only missing twice in the 7th and the 8th.
Right. I actually I have to chalk that up to user error. The 10 pin I left in the 7th was actually a pretty decent shot, but I did leak it a little right, and then I just totally cut the shot off in the 8th and didn't extend through it. And you really have to get it through the heads in order to get some back end reaction. And really, I'm doing my best Chad Nelson impression. I mean, I've known Chad for a long time. I actually went to a layout that's like the ball he's throwing. He's actually throwing a lights out that's essentially a pin-up ball. And so I know Chad for many years, and I just decided to line off him because he's striking a lot.
Yeah, he's got 280 left this game. Kloss struggling on your pair, though. Kloss going backwards in a hurry, but looks like you're putting yourself in good position here. Keep it going.
Thank you, Mike.
So now we're watching Chad Nelson, can still shoot 280 this game. 8 in a row for Chad. You heard Casey, he's trying to throw it like Chad, and these two guys are bowling good together. Chuck Grote's going to be in the 220s, 228 to be exact. If he fills it up in the 10th frame, out of camera range, just walking around trying to get an idea of some other scores out and around. Lenny Borish is going to shoot 268. Big game for Lenny. Poliani still has 239 left. Mike Peters, 244 max score through 9. A lot of 240s, a lot of 230s. A lot of people are starting to settle in now throughout the house. And as I make my way back towards the booth, so game number 3 wrapping up here. Just lanes 5 and 6 going here in front of us. Dave Axon, Jason Hale, Jacob Bedard, and Brent Ritchie. Bedard can still bowl 257, sporting the Randy Peterson replica jersey. Randy and I will be working together again this year at the Storm InsideBowling.com Open the last weekend in April. You definitely don't want to miss that. Had a lot of fun last year. I was a little nervous working with Randy for the first time. We've worked together 4 or 5 times now, so that broadcast, from my perspective, and the role that I will fill will be much better. .236 still max score possible for Dave Axon. It's a pair bowling pretty well. .257 for Jacob Bedard. Jason Hale still with .247 left. And possible .234 for Brent Ritchie. Brian Burkhart sighting on lane 7, IQ Tour Fusion. Six games this morning if you're just joining us, 6 games. If you're watching completion of game number 3, then we'll cut to the top 10 for a unique stepladder format. Some elimination matches and then a traditional stepladder once we get down to the top 5. Be moving pairs, so it'll be interesting and fun on our broadcast. Fist pump for Axon. Be careful. You got 3 more games to bowl. Brent Ritchie up on lane number 5. Second shot and attempt to shoot .234. This pair is bowling good. Yeah, why not? Just take it. Take it on the run, baby.
That's the way we want it, baby. Little REO Speedwagon reference. For those of you that are a little more seasoned watching our broadcast today. I actually like the seasoned reference. 6 in a row graphic. I like the seasoned because everything's better with seasoning. Good game, Brent Ritchie, 232. Unfortunately, you're going to be low on the pair. Jason Hale could shoot 247, last shot in the 10th. Okay. Exciting. I got lanes 9 and 10 here for you. It's the only other pair we have going with any action whatsoever at the moment. Christensen up in the 10th frame, throwing at the 4-7. Spares it. Will shoot 225 if he strikes on his fill ball. Zach Livingston spares. He will shoot 188 with a strike on his fill ball. Lane number 9. .222. And 188. So we'll not sure where to take you. Aaron McCarthy there on 7 and 8 comes in light. We could take you over to 5 and 6. Derek Sapp coming into the picture. Pretty good pairing here. Derek Sapp, Dave Barris, Justin Shawaska, Mark Bennett Jr. Game number 4 coming up, 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. Mike Flanagan here with you in the booth. On this beautiful Sunday in February. It's becoming the hot time for the bowling season. The USBC Open Championships coming up, beginning just next week already. Take a look and see how Shannon Buehn's bowling today. Have to check after 2 games. Buehn came in 61st position. Has moved up to 50th. He's over on 7 and 8. So now our first look at Dave Barris on lane number 5. Bowled on ESPN not too long ago on the RPI show that was on. Barris, Sapp, Swaska, and Bennett. Mark Bennett Jr. Well, the one thing I've concluded after talking to some of the bowlers is that today the lanes are playing a little bit more difficult and scoring pace is down for many. Now, granted, we've watched a couple of pairs. We've had Casey Murphy's pair, you know, for example, that have been able to conquer this oil pattern, but all in all, overall, scores lower today. I got to be honest. I wish I was out there bowling today on this. It's one of those patterns where there's enough friction with the way I like to bowl that I could get in and have plenty of oil and probably be able to open up this lane pattern a little bit. Wish I was out there bowling today. But then it would be complete silence in the booth. And although I get lots of letters telling me that that would be better than me in the booth, I think that the overall majority would appreciate someone bringing you some sort of commentary here. So for now, I'm just parked in the booth. Here in the chat, yeah, Joe Engelkiss got off to a nice start today through 2 games. Got himself to plus 198, but I can tell you that in game number 3, he bowled 186. So looking at lanes 5 and 6, Sapp and Barris have both bowled on national television. Sapp, if you remember, was featured on a PBA telecast that actually covered the bowlers. It was an untraditional broadcast. He was wearing a Columbia shirt that was black and yellow, if I remember correctly. And Justin Zwatska and Mark Bennett Jr. also crossing with these 2 bowlers. And Sapp leaves a blower 5-pin. Derek Sapp was a great collegiate player as well. Went to Western Illinois University. Bowled with Jeremy Sonnefeld. I like Brian Shannon. Earlier when I was talking about writing letters, he asked if people still write letters. Well, they write letters to me electronically. Lots of hate mail coming in. I wouldn't mind Brando bowling and just commentating wirelessly, but it'd be kind of awkward. It'd be kind of all about me. And you know what's funny is you know, we've got a reference here in the chat about Jeff Goodger. And I worked with Goodger for a week, his first week actually. And he's probably one of my favorite people I've ever got to work with in the booth. I don't know if it was because it was on a PBA scene or what it was, but we spent time together trying to get to know each other because we thought we'd be working together for a while. And we became really great friends. And the guy is so witty. He's really fantastic, in my opinion. And I know that there are some bowling purists that just don't get Jeff Goodger's personality and his humor. But if you've watched those Bowling Center shows on the PBA YouTube channel, which if you have not seen the Bowling Center on there, it's like 8 episodes. You got to go watch it. It's phenomenally well done by Jason Thomas and Jeff Goodger. But he did all the writing for that. And he has such an appreciation for bowling. I really like Jeff Goodger a lot. He writes for About.com. He's taken bowling seriously. He's drilling equipment. He's bowling league. And he's a new person to our game. And to go sit there and strap himself into a booth and have to do a lot of the camera switching, which is what he primarily does now. Some of those shots that they've put together on Extra Frame, trust me, I know how hard it is to work that TriCaster. He's really come into his own from a producing standpoint. And from a commentary standpoint, he's very dry. And I know that some folks do not prefer the dryness, but personally, he does the best Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation I've ever heard in my life. So I truly think that if you were able to spend a week with him and go out on the road and get to know him, your opinion, if you have a negative one of him, would completely change. So if you don't mind, do me a favor. Trust what I'm saying and give Goodger the benefit of the doubt, because he truly is one of the good guys out there, and I really actually enjoy him. I just wish that Extra Frame was really allowed him to shine and especially during qualifying, do some of his fun, witty things even more so than what you get to see that he does. But his Macho Man is priceless. So get off my soapbox about my love affair with Jeff Goodger, but really like the guy. All right, we're going to bring in 2 screens at once as we do have some action now. You were talking about Joe Engelkiss, and now we've got Joe Engelkiss throwing at half a loaf on lane 16. And it looks like some people have completely destroyed my camera angle down there on 15 and 16 for the scoreboard. So got to go down and try to clean that up a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, looks like I got the scoreboard somewhat functional again. Mike Flanagan back here with you. Getting down to crunch time here. 4th game of 6. Should have a game number 3 update here shortly for you down below underneath your event information tab. The time is 11:30 Central Time. Games 4, 5, and 6 here coming at you. Then we'll cut to the top 10 for our bracket to try to figure out who the 5th seed is, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 with their bowling scores from yesterday and today combined will be seeded into the top 4 with 5th through 10th to decide who is the 5th qualifier. Brian Shannon catching up here in the chat, the Macho Man references. I'll tell you what, I should call Goodyear and piece him into the board and tell him that someone doesn't appreciate his style of delivery on the broadcast. And I guarantee you, after we got done talking to him, you would have a different opinion about him. But Brian Shannon says, the Tower of Power. Too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Oh, yeah. Macho Man. Macho Madness. It's about as good as I can do, guys. Mike Flanagan. Oh, yeah. Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan. He's at the 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. Oh, yeah. The Macho Man up in heaven looking down upon the Fusion Realtors Open. Joe Engelkiss and his crew doing an amazing job. Oh, yeah. Need a little excitement? Tune into Inside Bowling. Yeah. That's all I got. Oh, man, it's like a 1 compared to Goodyear's. And if you do, I'm sorry to get off of this Macho Man tangent, but I just think it's so freaking funny. If you do ever go out and watch the old YouTube videos of Randy Macho Man Savage, my favorite one is when he talks about the cream always rises to the top, and he's talking to Mean Gene Okerlund, and he's got these little cream packets, like, you know, it's the cream in the little containers. And he's got a couple of them like in his hand, and he pulls one out throughout the whole thing, and he's like, Mean Gene, oh yeah, the cream always rises to the top. That's right, Mean Gene, I am the cream. And he like shows this little bitty container of cream in his big hand. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Oh, man. Wow. Should have an update here now after game number 3. Troy Fuller leads plus 377. We got a lead change. Chad Nelson sits second at plus 375. Gottschall falls to third at plus 360. Eric Gulbranson sits fourth at plus 355. Jason Wojnar sits fifth at plus 344. Casey Murphy is now up to sixth at plus 340. A.J. Chapman in seventh at plus 333. Chuck Grote sits eighth at plus 331. Ninth, Nick Pate at 311. And rounding out your top 10, Scott Rains is now in 10th position at plus 309. Sikora, Reese, Coliani, Barras, Helmers, Hale, Rangel, Peters, Borish, and Bittenbender, your top 20. Bittenbender in 20th position at plus 238. 71 pins behind 10th position with 3 games to go here. That information can be found underneath your event information tab. It's light blue, and it is on your InsideBowling.tv page below the feed. I like it how Brian Shannon gave us a link to the Cream YouTube. Drew Balta's getting out. Thanks, buddy, for your help yesterday. Appreciate it. Well, when you fly solo in the booth, you do crazy things sometimes. So, for those of you that wanted to hear from the Macho Man, Randy Savage, I believe I've got it queued up here. This is Mean Gene and Macho Man Randy Savage talking about the cream rising to the top.
It's a day that I'm certain my guest at this time will not forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing
means nothing.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. Macho Madness, yeah, has got more to offer than President Jack Tunney thinks that I got. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. Cards stacked against the Macho Man Randy Savage in WrestleMania 3. Yeah, let me say it, yeah. Let me say it out loud. And let me point to the president of the World Wrestling Federation. The Macho Man Randy Savage is not happy with your decision, yeah. I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Wait a minute,
and there is no doubt about it, yeah. You, Mean Gene Okerlund, you know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, wait a minute, though, Randy. I've got to ask you very seriously. Do you blame Mr. Jack Tunney, the distinguished president of the World Wrestling Federation, for Ricky Steamboat being the Intercontinental Champion today?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Outside interference, yeah. In my moment of glory. Yeah, now I'm living in a nightmare, and I am the cream. And now, not only the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship belt must fall, but the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Because Hulk Hogan, yeah, I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage. On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are, yeah. And I'm talking to everyone in the World Wrestling Federation. And I'm even talking to President Jack Tunney, yeah. I'm on my way. And nothing is gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me.
You know, just out of curiosity, Randy, and I certainly don't want to diminish your tremendous God-given talents, but I'm very curious. I haven't seen Elizabeth lately.
Yeah, she's on the outside of the ring. Does she interfere in matches? Yeah. Nothing, zero, yeah. Pure athlete, yeah. And I've been, maligned from the top to the bottom. And because they can't handle the Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop, nobody does it better.
So there you have it. Macho Man Randy Savage checking in this morning with us here on our broadcast. I don't know why. I find that just so funny. But could you imagine if bowling did have personalities like that, to where I would walk up to them in the middle of the Fusion Realtors and I would, you know, walk up to Rob Gottschall and be like, Mike Flanagan, that's right. Yeah, made the switch over to Ebonite. Got to make the switch. Ooh, yeah, the cream always rises to the top. It doesn't matter what bowling ball company you throw out here. Mike Flanagan, oh yeah, gonna take this down. And Joe Engelkist, the president of the Greater Iowa Bowling Association. Oh yeah, he's the president. No interference. You don't see interference when I come up here with Aaron McCarthy, do you? Oh yeah. Could you imagine that? You know how many more sponsors we would have if that was my interview with Rob Gottschall? Woo! All right. Back to, thank you for that link, Brian Shannon. Oh, man. Well, at least I can have fun for 10 minutes on this broadcast. I like what Gagnon said. He said you get like the audio's not good enough. You got to actually watch Macho Man play with the little creamers. Oh boy. Okay. 5 and 6, 195, possible 171, 224, and a string of strikes. 256 for Dave Barris, and Dave Barris is moving up. Dave Barris can shoot 256 here in the 10th frame. And he, Barris sits at, I saw his name going up the board. Dave Barris. Find him here. 14th. Coming into today, Dave Barris was in, gotta find him here, 44th. So he was plus 129 coming into today through 3 games. Dave Barris is now plus 256. So 730 to open up today, and now left side of your screen. He's looking at 250. Dave Barris making a run here at the Fusion Realtors. I'm glad we've got a fun group in the chat today. We can have some fun. Derek Sapp 171 today. So I'll effort to get Jeff Goodger on this broadcast. See if we can get a Macho Man impersonation out of Goodger. Although when I put him on the spot, he gets really, like, nervous. Doesn't want to do it. He just wants to pull it out whenever you least expect it. So Derek Sapp, 171. 245 for Dave Barris. On lanes 5 and 6. Let's shift our attention over here to lanes 9 and 10, where Jason Duran, Dan Lemish, Aaron Ramsden, and Mark Lineberry find themselves. Rangel is in 17th position at plus 247. Lemish is in 37th at plus 187. Duran is in 41st at plus 173. And Lineberry's in 49th at plus 155. Ramsden, if he spares this, can still shoot 231. He's in the 7th right now. Lemish with a spare here can shoot 237. Duran can still shoot 247 max score. He'll be up in the 7th frame on lane 9. No Adam Barta sighting at this tournament. This would be a good one for him to bowl this one. This would be a good one for him. Be Barta Nation all over the place here. I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but usually in an event like this, the cream always rises to the top. Lemish flat 10s. We'll bring in our split screens as we have a new group of bowlers coming over on lanes 5 and 6. Entering in game number 5. See Clayton Moore. Cameron Foster. Matt Kruger and Cord McMahon. Clayton up now on lane 5. And down on 15 and 16. 229 in the books. $185. Aaron McCarthy now up, still has 236 left, 38. Good shot by Aaron. Shannon Buehn is really a solid player and really a nice guy. And now he's working on 279. Let's see where that will put him and what that will do for him. Shannon, remember, came in today tied for 61st position, but just nowhere to go but up. He's plus 146 after 3 games, so add 279 to that. That takes him to plus 225. Currently, right now, that would sit 27th position, 28th position, actually. But that would put him 70 off the show. So potentially if he bowled 250, 250 the last 2 games after this 279, he could potentially make a run at making it into the top 10 coming from 61st position. But, of course, he did not strike on the 11, so he'll be 268. Shannon was exempt on the PBA Tour for a year when it was an exempt tour. Definitely knows how to play the lanes. This is kind of home for him. This is home field advantage for him. John Brocklin just off camera range if you're interested in how John Brocklin's bowling today. 190, 2-0, 220 I think was his scores, and he's looking at 2-teen this game on lanes 7 and 8. Take you back over here to 9 and 10. Up in the 9th frame. Duran has 224 left, the highest game still available on this pair. So I text Goodger, and he currently is working the PBA League taping right now in New Jersey. So he's a little busy at the moment, but in between the shows, he might come on and join us for a minute. Dan Limish, first strike in the 10th frame. He can bowl 202. Aaron Ramsden can bowl 188, first shot, 10th frame, lane 9. Bounce out of here, take you over to lanes 5 and 6. As we mentioned, Cameron Foster, Clayton Moore, Matt Kruger, Cord McMahon. Cord in the light blue shirt on lane 6. 3 of the bowlers on this pair are perfect. I'll make that 2. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm okay right now. Maybe after the next game. Gotta love the staff here. They're amazing. Let's see if anybody remembers this one. I'm drinking lemonade up here in the booth. Let's see if anybody can guess this. Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. Kevin Gagnon gets it right. Eddie Murphy. from Delirious. Cameron Foster throws the ball so good. Still no action on 15 and 16.
Hop out of the booth here for a minute, get you an update on some of our leaders. Let you know what they bowled game number 4, as they are at the opposite end of the bowling center now. Game number 4, Eric Gulbranson, 191. Rob Gottschall getting it going, bowled his highest game of the day, plus 399 now. He bowled 239. Chad Kloss, 206, takes him to 242. And AJ Chapman, 258, takes himself to plus 391. So AJ bowling well this morning. Jerry Sikora sits at plus 310 after a 214 game. Jason Wojnar struggled a little bit, 188, sits at plus 332. Chad Nelson bowled 215 to take himself to 387. And Casey Murphy, the high game on the pair, bowled 246, takes himself to plus 386. Nick Payton, game number 4, bowled 232, takes himself to plus 343. Troy Fuller bowled 220, takes himself to plus 397. Jason Rook bowled 213, takes himself to plus 214. And Scott Rains bowled 246, which takes him to, he doesn't have plus and minus on here, but 25.55, so that's 355 over, it looks like, for Scott Rains. Coliani bowled a bad 4th game, bowled 165, takes himself down to plus 235. Lenny Boris, 213, he sits at plus 260. Chuck Grote bowled 246, he goes to plus 377. And Mike Peters, wow, bowled 158, takes himself to plus 205. And Clay Reese bowled 219 to get to 295 over. Zach Rhodes, 225 to get to 256 over. Darren Galbraith, 187, gets to 224, falls back a little bit. And Scott Wolwin, 257 to get to plus 257. So no determined leader running away with it. Pretty tight at the top. 350 to 399. About 4 or 5 players in that range. It's very important to get into the top 4 for this, because the top 4 will not have to go through the 5 through 10 elimination matches to determine the 5th seed. So we'll keep an eye on that as they're on the opposite end of the building. Mike Flanagan here with you. 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. You're watching game number 5. Game number 5 for most, actually. Game number 4 still, I believe, up on your screen on lanes 5 and 6. As almost a full game off in some places throughout the house. So bear with me as I try to keep up with that. We appreciate you being part of this broadcast with us today. Here from Waterloo, Maple Lanes to be exact. Question is the cream going to rise to the top? I believe that it is. The interesting part of this now that I'm getting to is to try to figure out who's going to sit in the booth with me for the finals. I don't think playing Macho Man, Randy Savage clips will cut it. Wriggles is already on his way home. Those of you in the chat asking about Jeff. We've got action on multiple pairs now. We'll take you down to 15 and 16. More of Lemish and Duran. It'd be nice if we had 2 Durans bowling in the tournament if they were on the same pair, because then we could throw it over to Duran. But we don't, just 1 Duran. Maybe our celebrity could be Kevin Durant. And then we would have Duran, and Durant. Daytona 500 coming up, it looks like here, just about to take the green flag. 2014 Daytona 500 running today, the Great American Race. Little boogity, let's go racing boys today. Super Bowl of Motorsports. And of course the USBC Masters live telecast today at 3 o'clock Eastern time, a little bit later today. 2 o'clock here. We'll be broadcasting the finals here. So if you don't have 2 TVs in your living room, go grab one from another room and set it up side by side, or head on down to the local Best Buy or whatever your pleasure is, and we'll get another TV and watch today. And if you can't afford it, just return it later tonight. That way you can have 2 bowling broadcasts on at the same time. It's not like the NFL Sunday Ticket where you can watch all these different games usually. Bowling usually does not have 2 live broadcasts happening at one time, but today is one of those days.
Update through game number 4. Rob Gottschall sits first at plus 399, and second, Troy Fuller at 397. Third, A.J. Chapman at 391. Fourth, Chad Nelson at 390. Wow, is that bunched up. 9 pins separate first through fourth, and then just 4 pins back of fourth is Casey Murphy at 386. Chuck Grote at 377 sits sixth. Raines at 355 is seventh. 8th is Gulbranson at plus 346. 9th is Nick Pate at 343. 10th is Wojnar at 332. It's really tight. Dave Barris is in 13th at 301, and there are 2 bowlers between 10th and 13th, Sikora and Rangel. Clay Reese is at 295. Bittenbender at 277. Buchan 270. So Shannon Buehn has moved from 61st position all the way up to 16th position today through 4 games with 2 to go. Pretty good stuff right there. So we'll continue to watch everything unfold. Remember, the top 4 will be seeded into the top 4 step ladder. Really important to be in those top 4, and it's really anybody's ball game. Really, Rob Gottschall's not continued and or picked up from where he left off yesterday at all. He's just kind of just backed into this 399 through 4 games. I've been really impressed with Duran's game in the red shirt, just threw a strike on 15. Really a nice guy, really throws the ball exceptionally well. He came to this trip with Brett Cooper, our Storm local area sales rep, territory manager in this area. And I was going to look and see how Cooper's doing today. He sits in 32nd position at plus 220. He's southpaw. I agree, Brando. They do not want to see Shannon Buehn make it into the top 10. He's a guy with a lot of knowledge of this bowling center and a lot of success here. He is a guy that potentially could go from 10th to 1st. Continue to keep an eye on those stories for you. So most of the leaders are at the other end of the bowling center. Just trying to get a glimpse and a feel for what was going on down there. Game number 5 of 6. In front of me here at lanes 9 and 10, Derek Sapp had the front 6 and just 4 pinned. We have yet to have a 300 game this weekend, which is pretty crazy for as high as scoring as this has been. But the real story right now is the top of the leaderboard. Rob Gottschall in first at plus 399, and 10th place is at plus 332. Cameron Foster can still shoot 231. The orange shirt on the left side of your screen. He sits 44th at plus 180 coming into this game. Clayton Moore can bowl 246. He sits 31st at plus 222. Jeff Goodger just letting me know that things are pretty hectic up there in New Jersey right now, so not sure if he's going to be able to join our broadcast today, but always like efforting on those sorts of things. Matt Kruger, if he fills it up here on the right lane, it'll be 195. Cord McMahon, 256. Second shot in a 10th. All right, 245. Possibility. Take you here in front of the booth, lanes 9 and 10. Derek Sapp will be up in the 9th frame. Can still shoot 279. Sapp is in 45th at plus 172. Dave Barris, Justin Schwatzka, Mark Bennett Jr. Bennett had 257 left, but comes in light for the 2-pin. Barris can shoot 259. Dave Barris is on the move. Barris is 13th at plus 301. So now here's Barris up in the 9th, working on a spare 259 max score left. All right, make that 248 max score left. Asking what the top 10 number will be, I will say it's going to be 375. Maybe not that high. No, I'll go 375. 375, you're in the top 10. Now, as far as the top 4, I'll go 440. You're watching continuing coverage, 2014 Fusion Realtors Open. Mike Flanagan here with you, flying solo in the booth. Watching game number 5 of a 6-game second round block. After this, everyone will go home except for 10. And then we will be bringing you coverage of the round of 4, which will be 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th competing against each other. And then they will go on to face 5 and 6. And the winner of that match will then go on to figure out who will be the 5th and qualifying seed to then bowl the top 4 qualifiers through these 13 games of qualifying. 7 yesterday, 3 squads, A, B, and C. And now today, the top 61 came back, all cash in the tournament. A lot of added money here. Great sponsors: Fusion Realtors, Storm, Inside Bowling, Rydell Chevrolet, P&K Midwest, the John Deere distributor here, Kingpin Bar and Grill, Budweiser, Bud Light, the Isle Hotel and Casino, and Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau. All bring you this event. Derek Sapp finishes with 278. Dave Barris, though, now up in the 10th frame on lane 9, looking for the first strike. If he spares, it'll be 238. If he strikes out, it'll be 248. Spare working in the 9th. Dave matching bowling ball to matching shirt, all red. And that was not a good shot for Dave. And he knew it. Really important for him to slide this over now. The head pin, hit the left side of the head pin and slide it over to the 10. Because if he does spare strike, it's 235. If he just gets 2, it'll be 224. So really important here, especially as tight as it is amongst the top, for him to bowl 230 here. So I would put this at a 50% chance of Dave making this. And he makes it. So that was huge right there for Dave. Grinding away, great spare shooter. Dave always trying to capitalize on an opportunity as he's going to switch balls. Try to get a read on a little different look with this ball on lane 9. Looks like he's going to the silver ball. If it was Christmas time, I would start singing Silver Balls. But I won't, because it's not Christmas time. It's Dave Barris in the city. So 234 for Dave Barris. Good game. He and Sapp combined here for 5-12. Move you over to both of our split screens where we do have action. Jason Duran can still shoot 245, 192 above him. 209, and Lineberry can shoot in the 240s. Now coming into our screen on 5 and 6, Scott Woolwind, Zach Rhodes, Clay Reese, and Darren Galbraith. We'll full screen play Reese and his pair. Woolwind and Reese. Should have a game number 5 update for you before you know it. Coming into game number 6 here. Final game. It's go time. It's now or never.
All right, update down here from your leaders. Chad Kloss, 235, improves to plus 277. A.J. Chapman bowled 184, is now at 375. Gulbranson bowls 190 and is at plus 336. Rob Gottschall, 202, is at 401. So not very good scores from the leaders pair down here. Not very good scores at all. Chad Nelson, 192. Jason Wojnar, 203. Casey Murphy, 225. He sits at plus 411. And right now, judging by these scores, he's your new leader. Jerry Sikora as bowls 210. So the highest game I've seen out of these two leader pairs, 225, Casey Murphy. So they're getting tough down here on the high end. No question about that. With a game to go. Shannon Buehn bowled 222. He sits at plus 292 after game number 5. He's going to need 270 or so to possibly sneak in there. But scoring pace really went down. Really surprising. Still bunched up as ever. Lenny Borish, game number 5, 183. He's at plus 243. Chuck Grote bowled 234. He's at plus 411. He's in the Casey Murphy neighborhood now. Koliani, 179, is at plus 214. He'll be a non-factor. Mike Peters continues to struggle, plus 179 after a 174 game. Nick Pate bowled 237, sits at plus 380. He's in good shape. Troy Fuller, 211, is now at 408. Jason Rook, 183, is at plus 197. And Scott Rains bowled 203 and is at plus 358. Of course, on your screen, lanes 5 and 6. Zach Rhodes is at plus 261. Goldbreth at plus 208. Scott Wolwin sits at plus 280 after a 223 game number 5. Clay Reese is at plus 318 after a 223 game. So Clay has 269 left. If he can string a 5 or 6 bagger along, he might have a chance at the top 10. Bring in 2 screens at once. We do have action down on 15 and 16. So certainly coming down to the wire here. Should have standings after game number 5 or just up a couple minutes ago. Chuck Grote, your new leader, tied with Casey Murphy at 411 apiece. Troy Fuller at plus 408 is third. Gottschall now 4th at plus 401. Chad Nelson 5th at plus 382. Nick Pate 380 is 6th. A.J. Chapman plus 375 is 7th. 8th, Scott Rains at 358. 9th, Gulbranson at plus 336. And there's a tie for 10th, Barris and Wojnar, 335 over, I apologize. Jerry Sikora is plus 320. Clay Reese, 318. Jason Hale, 303. Sean Rangel, 299. Buehn, plus 292. He is 43 out of the top 10. So as I said, Buchan's probably going to have to shoot 270 or better this game. I'll keep an eye on that for you. From 61st to 16th, Shannon Buehn.
Kevin Gagnon, you need to plug your microwave into some other outlet in your house. Don't put it on the same one with the wireless internet. And Ma Fosties, no problem.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Tim yet. Wow, what's up? I'll talk to him and see what's up. Well, I did it when we first started. Okay. Okay. Alright. Well, if I shoot 450 this game, I might be bowling.
Okay, just had a conversation with Shea Bender trying to line up my commentator in the booth. I always like to get someone that competed in the event, knows what the lanes are doing, offer good insight. So none of my pairs that I have available to give you really tell much of a story on getting into the hunt other than Clay Reese, in which Clay is still trying to make a charge, but with that 7-pin there, all he's got left is 248. So I will try to keep you informed as I walk around and see what I can get you for information. I can tell you that Nick Pate is up on lane number 2, throwing an IQ Tour Fusion. And he went strike spare 6 in a row, and I walked down here and he just went 210. But Nick Pate is in great position right now. If he just gets one here, he'll still be in the 240s if he strikes out in the 10th frame. Scott Rains can shoot 255. Not anymore. He can shoot 235 now going into the 10th frame. Troy Fuller can still shoot 244 going into the 10th frame. So those guys look pretty good. Chuck Grote can shoot 232. He's throwing at a 10-pin on lane number 4 in the 9th frame. So he's looking at 230.
He's probably over par for the week.
Peters is out. Coliani is out. Lenny Borish is out. So Lenny Borish can still shoot 250 though. So it's a good score for Lenny. Rob, are you done through 6? Yes? What'd you have the last game? 47. Gotchel had 247 the last game. You got any other score updates from down there?
Casey Murphy can strike out the tie.
Casey Murphy can strike out the tie. How many frames he got left?
2.
Two frames left.
Chad Nelson had 2 frames left. He can bowl 279 and go around this bowl. Troy Fuller needs this next one to go around me.
Okay, so Gotch will give me an update. Troy Fuller, he's up on lanes 1 and 2. If he throws this strike, he can go around Gotchel if he strikes on lanes 1 and 2. Hey, Rob, it got really tight at the top of the leaderboard about 2 games ago. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bowl very good today, so I kind of let the field back into it. But, yeah, I mean, the lanes are tricky today, especially pair to pair. I mean, they were different today, which is not a bad thing.
Fuller did get the strike. He's going to go around you, huh?
Yeah, he had me by 7 going into this game, and yeah, I mean, even if he gets 8 or 9 here, he's going to have me by a couple. So it's all right, though. I mean, it's my own fault that I'm not at the top. So.
All right, and Nelson can shoot 279. So I'm going to go check and see if Chad Nelson shoots 279 and goes around to everybody. AJ, what'd you have the last game? 216 for Chapman the last game. Going all the way down to the end pair, lanes 31 and 32. And it looks like Chad Nelson opened in the 9th, and he can shoot 243. And Casey bowled 236, and I think he's a pin short of Gotchel. So we believe it's going to be Fuller, Gotchel, Murphy, Nelson. Your top 4. Unofficially, the top 3 I think are pretty much confirmed. Nelson being the 4th, definitely unofficial. Although Grote could be the 4th. Nelson or Grote. Gives you a little update on what's going on around the lanes. It actually looks as though, as I make my way over here, Grote had, I believe he had 256. Double check that. Hey, Lenny, what did Grote have down here? Is that 250 for him? 221. You had 250. Lenny had 256. Grote had 221. I know Nelson was in a 230, so I have to look at my sheet up here, figure out. Grote was at 411. Yeah, so it looks like Grote will actually be 4th. Unless something crazy happens. And then I guess the other story to look for is whether or not Shannon Buehn can bowl 270 the last game. That'd be a remarkable story from going from 61st to possibly in the top 10. And let me get an update and see where he's at. Chuck, you think you're 4th? Yeah, Murphy, Gotchel, and Fuller. So I think you're 4th. I think. Okay. And doesn't look like Buchan's going to be able to make it in. He strike 9 spare, 9 spare, 8 spare, 9 spare. If I'm looking at him in the correct position. Yeah, so Shannon cannot, he does not have his strike and shoes on down there. So Still a great run for Shannon, but it's going to fall up a little bit short today from the top 10. So I'm going to write this down while I remember it. Looks like your top seed today is going to be Troy Fuller. Your second seed today is going to be Rob Gottschall. Third seed is going to be Casey Murphy. Your fourth seed is going to be Chuck Grote. Unofficial, of course. That's what we're looking at. Chad Nelson should be fifth. Nick Pate should be sixth. Chapman Raines should be 7th and 8th. And then the rest is kind of up for grabs here. So Chapman and Raines. Chapman had 215. Raines had enough. So the question is whether or not Eric Gulbranson, Dave Barris, Jason Wojnar, Jerry Sikora, Clay Reese, Jason Hale, or Sean Rangel are going to finish out your last two spots. Now, Clay Reese on lane 6 right in front of you. This is a big shot for Clay. He'll still shoot 248. Not the kind of shot he was looking for. Can still shoot 225, which will take Reese to 343. Which at this point in time, I don't believe is going to be enough. Who did? Rangel just had 234, so he goes to plus 333, which I don't believe will be enough either. So Sikora, Wojnar, Barris, Gulbranson are scores that we need. Gulbranson bowled 229 the last game to finish at plus 365, I believe is that number. Once again, completely unofficial. Dave Barris is going to be in the 180s. So Dave Barris not going to make it. Wojnar, what'd you finish at? Is that your 170?
I had 202. So I was
202. 202 for Wojnar. I think that's okay. 202 for Wojnar. Back to the booth. You out? Okay, 202 for Wojnar. Puts him at 337, and Barras is going to go backwards. So Gulbrandsen and Wojnar. Gulbrandsen, Wojnar. And then I just need to see if Sikora. Well, Wojnar got to 37. Clay Reese went around. Clay Reese, Clay Reese. Yeah, so Wojnar will not make it. Wow, so Clay Reese is 225. I didn't think that would be enough. So Sikora is the other one that we got to find out about. Because Sikora, if he shot 223 or better, he's got a chance. So Sikora bowled 232 the last game. 232 for Sikora puts him at 352, which jumps Clay Reese. Okay, so unofficially, Troy Fuller is going to be our top seed. Rob Gottschall is going to be second. Casey Murphy is third. Chuck Grote is fourth. Nelson and Pate are going to fill out your fifth and sixth positions. A.J. Chapman and Scott Rains are going to be seventh and eighth. And then ninth and 10th are going to be Gulbrandsen and Sikora. That's how we have it shaken out right now, according to some of the numbers that I have here that I've come up with.
So bring it back into the booth. Mike Flanagan here with you. Troy Fuller is going to be our top seed. Rob Gottschall, Casey Murphy, Chuck Grote, Chad Nelson, Mr. Pate, A.J. Chapman, Rains, Sikora, Gulbrandsen unofficially here from the booth. A couple of pairs still left. We're going to go ahead and exit out for a moment and get our game plan put together for our top 10 finals. Hope you've enjoyed this coverage here this morning, and I'll be back with you here shortly. Stay tuned to our website. The event information tab will confirm who the top 10 are. Take you just out to the lanes. We'll play some music, and we'll be back with the stepladder finals.